Hey everyone, in this video we'll tackle a few word problems focusing on the area, perimeter, and volume of a rectangle. So first let's just talk about these three things. We'll talk about the area, perimeter, and volume. So let's draw a rectangle, just like that. And a rectangle, it has four sides to it, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the shorter sides are called length. So we'll represent with that with an L, it has two lengths, one over here and one over here. And the wider side is called the width. We'll represent that with the letter W. It has two widths, one up here and one down here. And first, let's just talk about the area real quick. The area is the length times width. All you have to do is multiply the length and width together to get the area. And what the area represents is how much space covers the entirety of the rectangle. So how much space is there within the entire rectangle? That is the area. So the area would just be the length times width. Whatever those two numbers are, you'd multiply together. And let's talk about the perimeter real quick. So the perimeter, as you could see in this formula, is 2 times L plus 2 times W. So in other words, it is the sum of both of these L's plus the sum of both of these W's. What the perimeter means is how much is, or how long is the area around the rectangle. So how long is this length plus this? Basically, how long is every side of the rectangle? If you add up all the sides of the rectangle, that would give you your perimeter. So it's both of the lengths, that's why it's 2 times length, plus both of the widths, that's why it's 2 times width. So that's the perimeter. And the volume actually applies to 3D shapes. So let's draw a sort of 3D version of a rectangle. So a rectangular prism. Let's try to draw one as best as we can. A rectangular prism. And on the base, you have a rectangle as well, as you can see down here on the base. It also has a length and width, and it also has a third dimension, this height. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It has a height. So there are three dimensions, length, width, and height. And the volume of this rectangular prism is how much space there is inside all of it, inside the entire shape. And that would just be the length times width times height. Okay, so now that we understand those three concepts, let's go ahead and tackle some of these word problems. The first one reads, the area of a rectangle is 30, and the width is twice the length. What are the length and width? Okay, so first of all, we know this is an area problem, so we have our first formula right here, the area formula. We know that the area, let's write it as A, equals length times width. Length times width. So let's scroll down a little bit. So let's go ahead with what we know. We know that the area is 30. So our area is 30. Let's go ahead and substitute this A for 30. So this A is 30 equals, and we know that the width is twice the length. So we know the width, the W, is equals twice the length, 2 times the length. W equals 2L. That's what that sentence translates to in mathematics. The width is twice the length. W equals 2L. So, so far in our formula right here, we have 30 equals L times W. And we can go ahead and substitute this W for 2L. So let's continue this. We have 30 equals L times, now instead of W, we are going to write 2L. 2 times L. Good, so 30 equals L times 2 times L. So let's go ahead and keep evaluating this. What is L times L? That is L squared. So let's just write this. 30 equals 2 times L squared. And let's make some space for this. Well, let me go ahead and erase some of this. Let me rewrite it up here. 30 equals 2 times L squared. Good. And how do we evaluate this? Let's go ahead and solve for L, our variable here. So let's divide both sides by 2. So L squared equals 15. And what is L? We'll just take the square root of both sides. So square root, that'll cancel out the square. So L is radical 15. Okay, so remember, let's go back to the question. It's asking for the length and width. So far we found the length. Our length is radical 15. Now what is the width? How do we get there? Well, let's go back to our area right here. Our area formula. Our area is 30. 30 equals L times W. So now we know what L is. We know what L is. Our L is radical 15. Let's go ahead and substitute that radical 15 in for L. So let's rewrite this, and in fact, let me move some of this so we have more space to work with. Just some of this, excuse me. Just want to move a little bit of this, or actually, let's go ahead and erase it. So let's go ahead and erase a lot of this. Okay, so again, our L is radical 15, and we are going to use this formula right here. 30 equals, we know what our L is, that's radical 15 times W. And let's now solve for W. So we can divide radical 15 from both sides. And that will cancel that out. What does W now equal? W equals 30 divided by radical 15. And we can rationalize the denominator if we wish, but for now I'll just keep it that way. 30 over radical 15 is our width, and radical 15 is our length. And there we go. That's how we solve those types of word problems involving area. Now let's move on to the perimeter. So the perimeter of a rectangle is 20, and the width is 3 times the length. What are the length and width? Okay, so let's go ahead and write our perimeter formula. It is 2L plus 2W. So our perimeter, I'll just represent with P, equals 2L plus 2W. Okay, so what do we know from our problem? Well, our problem says the perimeter is 20. So let's go ahead and substitute 20 for our perimeter. And the width is 3 times the length. So the width, the W, equals 3 times the length, which is L. Good. And what are the length and width? Basically, what does L equal and what does W equal? Perfect. So let's go ahead and solve this. So 20 equals 2L plus 2W. And what is our W? Our W is 3 times L, 3L. So let's go ahead and substitute this W for 3L. So times 3L. Perfect. So let's go ahead and keep evaluating this. What is 2 times 3L? 2 times 3L is 6L. So let's rewrite this. 20 equals 2L plus 6L. What is 2L plus 6L? That is 8L. So 8L equals 20. And let's go ahead and divide both sides by 8. Divide that by 8 and that by 8. And what does L equal? L equals 20 over 8, which can also be 10 over 4, which is 5 over 2, if we keep simplifying it, which is also 2.5, if you do 5 divided by 2. But we'll keep it in fractional form. So we know our L so far. Our L is 5 over 2. Perfect. So our L is 5 over 2, and now what's our W? Well, we can actually go back to this formula right here. W equals 3 times L. Perfect, so let's go ahead and use that. So W equals 3 times L, and we know what our L is, because we just found it. It is 5 over 2. So W equals 3 times 5 over 2. So what is 3 times 5 over 2? Well, this is just multiplying fractions. This is really just 3 over 1 times 5 over 2. What's 3 times 5? That is 15. And what's 1 times 2? That is 2. And we can't simplify it any further. That's just 15 over 2. So that is our width. Our width is 15 over 2. So we found our length, 5 over 2. We found our width. It's 15 over 2. And that is how we solve perimeter problems. And let's go ahead to this last one. So this problem reads, the height of a rectangular prism is 5, its length is 3, and its width is twice the length. What is the volume of the shape? Okay, so we know the shape is the rectangular prism, and we know the volume formula up here is length times width times height. So let's go ahead and write that down. So our volume equals length times width times height, L times W times H. And what do we know about this? We know the height is 5, so H is 5. Length is 3, so L is 3. And the width is twice the length. So the width, W, equals 2 times L. Good. And it's asking us to solve for the volume. So in the end, our answer is going to be the volume of this prism, this rectangular prism, and the volume V is what we're trying to find. That's what our answer is. Okay, so let's go ahead and look for V. It's just L times W times H. We know what L and H are. We know that L is 3, and we know that H is 5, so let's go ahead and write those down. 3, so 3 times W times 5. And we still have one more unknown, this W right here. But what is W? W is just 2 times L. And what did we say L was? L was 3. So in other words, W is 2 times 3, if we substitute L for 3. And what's 2 times 3? That is 6. So our W is actually 6. So we can go ahead and substitute that with 6. And there we go. Let's go ahead and multiply this out. What is 3 times 6 times 18? So just to make the math easier, 3 times 5 is 15. So 15 times 6. And what is 15 times 6? Well, we know 10 times 6 is 60. So plus 6 times 5, which is 30. So that's 90. 15 times 6 is 90. And there we go. That checks out. The volume is 90. So what's the volume of this shape? 90. That is our answer to that word problem. So I hope this video helps. And if you have any questions at all, please leave them down in the comments below. And thank you for watching.